You're not going to believe what just happened. Lil Mendeecees, the rising rap star everyone's been talking about, just made headlines for all the wrong reasons. Shocking footage has surfaced showing Lil Mendeecees in a heated confrontation with his father, music producer Mendeecees Harris. What began as a tense argument quickly spiraled out of control, and before anyone could react, Lil Mendeecees' hand came flying across his father's face. Yes, you read that right, a full-on public slap that's now going viral across the internet. Fans are in disbelief, scrambling for answers. Was this a moment of raw, unfiltered rage? Or is something much deeper brewing between this father and son? Witnesses say the tension had been mounting for weeks, but nobody could have predicted it would erupt so suddenly, and in front of cameras, no less. Now the leaked footage is everywhere, and social media is buzzing with speculation. What drove Lil Mendeecees to lose control in such a dramatic way? Could it be the crushing pressure of fame, years of unresolved family issues, or something even darker we've yet to uncover? Stay tuned because we're about to unravel the truth behind this shocking family drama. It all began with an argument that seemed no different from their usual spats, the kind that might end with some grumbling and a few slammed doors. But this time was different. Lil Mendeecees had been sitting on frustration for weeks, months even, and it was clear that the tension had finally reached a boiling point. The small disagreements, the passive-aggressive comments, and the little jabs that had been exchanged behind closed doors were now spilling out into the open, and the cameras were rolling. The footage shows Lil Mendeecees and Mendeecees Harris inside a luxury SUV parked outside a studio. The air inside the car looked heavy, thick with unresolved issues. Mendeecees was behind the wheel, gripping the steering wheel tightly, his knuckles almost white. Beside him, Lil Mendeecees sat rigid, his jaw clenched, and his hands balled into fists. From the very beginning, it was clear that this was not going to end well. "You always think you know what's best for me," Lil Mendeecees muttered, his voice low but steady. "But you don't. You never have." Mendeecees sighed, a heavy, drawn-out breath that seemed to carry the weight of every mistake he'd ever made. "You think this is easy?" he replied, his voice calm but tinged with exhaustion. "Being a father, especially after everything we've been through. You think that's a walk in the park?" Lil Mendeecees turned his gaze out the window, watching the world pass by as if searching for an escape. "You talk about being a father," he said, his voice growing sharper. "But where were you when I needed you? Where were you when I was figuring everything out on my own, trying to be my own man because you weren't there?" The tension inside the car was palpable, like a storm brewing just under the surface. Mendeecees gripped the steering wheel tighter, his fingers trembling slightly. "I was doing what I had to do," he said finally, his voice softer now. "I was handling business, making sure you had what you needed. Maybe I wasn't there the way I should have been, but don't act like I didn't care." Lil Mendeecees turned to face his father, his eyes burning with years of pent-up frustration. "You always say that," he muttered. "But words don't mean anything if your actions don't match. You expect me to just forget everything. Act like everything's cool." Mendeecees inhaled deeply, running a hand over his face. "No," he admitted. "I don't expect you to forget. But damn it, can't we at least try to move forward?" For a moment, there was silence. Just the hum of the car's engine and the faint sounds of the city outside. It wasn't a peaceful silence, though. It was the kind of silence that comes right before something breaks. Lil Mendeecees let out a bitter laugh, shaking his head. "Move forward," he repeated. "How am I supposed to do that when you don't even take responsibility? When you sit here acting like I should just accept whatever you say and keep it moving?" Mendeecees turned his head slightly, his patience clearly wearing thin. "You don't think I've taken responsibility?" he asked, his voice tight with frustration. "You think I haven't tried to fix things?" Lil Mendeecees stared at him, his eyes dark and full of resentment. "You think just because you've done better lately, it erases everything from before. It doesn't. I'm still dealing with that." He stopped short, swallowing hard, as if saying the words out loud would make them hurt even more. The conversation had gone from tense to volatile in a matter of minutes. Both men were speaking over each other now, their voices rising with every exchange. It was a clash of two stubborn personalities, each refusing to back down. Lil Mendeecees felt like every word out of his father's mouth was a dismissal of his pain, a refusal to acknowledge the years he'd spent feeling abandoned. And Mendeecees felt like his son was unwilling to see the sacrifices he'd made, the efforts he'd put in to try and make things right. "You don't get it," Mendeecees muttered, shaking his head. "No, you don't get it." Lil Mendeecees snapped back, his voice now a full-blown shout. And then it happened, the moment that would leave everyone in shock. Mendeecees rolled his eyes, a dismissive gesture that sent Lil Mendeecees over the edge. Without thinking, without hesitating, Lil Mendeecees' hand shot out, connecting with his father's face in a sharp slap that echoed inside the car. For a split second, the world seemed to freeze. Mendeecees' head snapped to the side, his cheek burning from the impact. His eyes widened, not from pain, but from pure, unfiltered shock. He had never expected this, not from his own son. The air in the car turned icy, the silence now suffocating. Lil Mendeecees sat back, his chest rising and falling with deep, uneven breaths. His hands trembled as he realized what he'd done. He'd crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. Mendeecees slowly turned back, his jaw tightening. His breathing was controlled, but his eyes were blazing with something unrecognizable, hurt, betrayal, and something darker. "What the hell did you just do?" Mendeecees asked, his voice dangerously low. Lil Mendeecees swallowed hard, his heart pounding. He wanted to say something, to explain, but no words came out. He had acted on instinct, on raw emotion, and now he wasn't sure what would happen next. The moment stretched on, agonizingly long. Mendeecees' cheek was still burning, but the pain wasn't just physical. It was something deeper, something that cut through his pride and his authority as a father. This was a wound that would take more than an apology to heal. Lil Mendeecees could barely breathe as the weight of what he'd done settled in. He had struck his own father. The man he had so many issues with, yes, but also the man who had tried, however imperfectly, to make things right. The man who had been his anchor, his guide, even when they couldn't see eye to eye. And now, the entire world would know. As the minutes passed, the gravity of the situation became clearer. Lil Mendeecees' phone buzzed, and his heart sank when he saw the notification. Someone had recorded the altercation. The video of that slap, of their heated exchange, was already circulating online. Social media was exploding with comments, speculation, and judgment. Fans were taking sides, questioning the dynamics of their relationship, and trying to piece together what had led to this moment. Lil Mendeecees looked at his father, searching for some sign of what to do next. But Mendeecees' expression was unreadable, a mask of controlled fury and deep disappointment. The damage was done, and they both knew it. This wasn't just a family argument. This was a public scandal that would define their relationship for years to come. What would happen next? Could they ever find a way back from this? The answers were unclear, but one thing was certain: nothing would ever be the same again. So, what do y'all think about this explosive father-son fallout? Can Mendeecees and Lil Mendeecees ever patch things up, or is the damage too deep? Should Mendeecees take a firm stand, or is there room for forgiveness? Drop your thoughts below and join the conversation. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because trust me, there's more to this story, and we'll be the first to spill all the tea. This drama is far from over, so stay tuned for the next update and let us know whose side are you on.